Clutch, first gear, let her out, tire spinning. This thing has really been bugging me. I just don't understand how a starter and a coil and a cap and rotor and these old plugs, all this stuff is super old. But it all still works. That fuel pump right there looks to be the newest thing on this engine, but I can't get it to work. So I'm going to take it off, see what's up. Well, that's not the best sign. How that came off super easy. What's really weird about these things when you look them up online is every picture you see, they show them like this. So when I see a picture of multiple different websites showing the fuel pump in this orientation, I think maybe it's supposed to go that way. But every time I've seen a glass bowl, it has to go like this. That way the fuel passes across here and all the big chunks and sediment falls into the bowl. Then it comes through the pump and goes out to the carb. When I first got the truck and I first was out here starting to work on it, it was hooked up backwards. The carburetor was on this side. The carburetor was on this side, and the fuel tank was on this side. And if you look right here, I don't know, maybe you can see that. It says in right there. And that makes sense because you want the fuel to come across here so that the sediment, like I said, falls out. So I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's bugging me. I don't think it's upside down. It doesn't make any sense for that glass bowl to be up. And if you look down inside here, I might need to get a flashlight. Okay, so if you look at the mounting plate for the fuel pump, there's a fat end and a skinny end, right? And you look down inside there, that hole is where the fuel pump goes, and the fat end is at the top. So if I put the fat end at the top, fuel bowl's facing down. That makes sense. It's just weird that every photo you see of a Carter fuel pump online shows it like this. I don't get it. So there's a lobe on the front of the crankshaft, spins around, presses this arm right here. Making some noise that seems like the diaphragm would be working. And I even went on some Studebaker forums that said this arm goes up. So it's all making sense. But it's not making sense because it's not working. just gonna put it back on. I'm gonna go get my fuel jug and try it again. I'm just gonna keep trying it until it works. I just broke that oil line right there. That's the line that comes up and feeds the filter. That might be the return, actually. I'm not sure which direction the oil flows, but either way, once I start cranking on this thing, it's gonna spill out of there. It broke almost completely off. I don't know how I'm gonna fix that. That's a crimped line. Just another one of those things I'm gonna have to overcome somehow. So I'm just trying to work with what I got here. I got all these little 90s and little connectors here. And it just so happens that these threaded barrels fit pretty snug in a piece of 5/16 fuel line. So if the threads in the side of the block are the same as that, then I can just thread that side into the block and just clamp a piece of fuel line to it, because if it's safe enough for fuel, it's definitely safe enough for oil. And that's what I'm going with, because I'm totally guessing with all this. Just trying to improvise, adapt, and overcome. So that's just what we're gonna have to do. Hopefully it doesn't, I mean, hopefully it builds oil pressure, but hopefully that pressure is not enough to blow off the line. And that's assuming I even get it to idle. Who knows? Just guessing. That's the fitting that came out of the side of the block. And just by looking at it, it looks the same. Looks the same to me. This would be a lot easier to put in if somebody hadn't put a fuel pump in the way. Broken hose. I think that worked out pretty okay. It's on there nice and tight. I think it's going to be fine. This is the line that I found in the bed of the truck. So let's just make sure it's not plugged. Oh yeah, we're good. It's a really snug fit in there. Right now I'm not even going to put a clamp on it. Hook the battery up here. Positive ground. Gonna leave the coil disconnected because I don't really care about the spark right now. Going hot. Nothing. All right, new plan. We're gonna go hot with the coil. I'm going to throw the bottle on here. Hopefully I can just set it on here so it just drips inside of there. Maybe. Hang on. All right, let's try this. Okay, another gas can. It'd be really nice if I had a way to start the engine over here and be able to add fuel. I'm thinking what I need to have happen is get this thing running long enough to get that fuel pump operating, get that diaphragm moving up and down in order to prime the line. That's the only thing I can think of. So I'm just going to keep adding fuel to the carburetor, try and start it. I don't know. Jack handles have so many more uses than just being the handle of your jack, you know? Okay, step one. Step two, put your funnel into your hose. Get another zip tie. And you run that line to your carburetor. That's alright, as long as this is higher than the carb, we should be good to go. I guess I could have just zip tied that to the wiper arm. Whatever. Okay. All right, there it is. Gravity-fed fuel system. Just gonna cut back our zip ties because we don't want to be trashy or anything. Okay, I don't see any leaks. Add just a little bit more. Okay, I can see with the light shining through there, the fuel level's about here. So, gravity fed down to the carb, no leaks. Had to use a zip tie right there because I don't have a clamp big enough, and also that hose isn't up on that funnel very good, which I'm not a fan of, but I'm just working with what I got here. Speaking of working with what I got, I had to use a splice fuel line repair kit to tie two junk pieces of line together. So I've got the feed going to the carburetor here, and then I've got the return here. Holding it down with a zip tie just so it doesn't come out. From what I know, from what I read, that fuel pump only puts out like 7 psi or something ridiculous, so I'm not worried about it spraying all over the place. But yeah, let's see what happens now. Coil hot. Going live. Going live. Uh-oh. That looked like it was about to tip over. That would not be good. Yeah. Didn't do a very good job of securing that. Huh. did something else. I think it'd be a good idea. How about a squeeze clamp? Feels pretty good. Moves a little. Try that. Man. How about some two-stroke? You like two-stroke. Pouring out all over the place. That's great. That's great. Pour into the cylinders there. Come on. Really? Get oil pressure. Success! All right. So what I need to do is adjust those throttle blades. Yeah, right now it's just closed off a little too tight and it's just choking the engine out. So I had to sit there and hold the throttle open. Am I turning that the right way? Yeah. I'm excited this thing has freaking oil pressure. Got like 40 pounds of oil pressure. Now that I think about it, our little makeshift oil line isn't leaking either. Need that to be need this to be open just a little bit. All right, let's try that. Let's see where our fuel level's at here. Got that adjusted. Fuel level is right about here. So let's try it again. This one's it. I can feel it. Going live. A little too live. That's right, baby! Look at this freaking exhaust. Chrome tips? Are you kidding me? Is there a fuel pump pumping? Just freaking pumping away. That's what's up. That metal fan in there is a little scary. I don't want to get too close to it, have it fly off and karate chop my head off. That fuel pump's not even leaking. That's incredible. Running out of gas. Running out of gas. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think that water pump was actually working. Man, I knew I'd do it. They call me the Studebaker Whisperer. Let me whisper to you. You're gonna drive again. I'm gonna put you back on the road. Now that I know the fuel pump is pumping, I'm gonna give these lines the old switcheroo and see if it'll run off the fuel pump. Just gonna leave that set up for right now. Probably should have at least filled the fuel bowl before I did all that, now that I think about it. Here we go. Yeah! It's running off the fuel pump now. Oh man. That's freaking awesome. Hey. doesn't look like the generator is generating. But this is freaking amazing. Look at that. Freaking oil gauge works. Man, that's on 0. I wonder if that's... No, that's not even hooked up, I don't think. I think our temp gauge is working too. I gotta fix that throttle linkage. That's a little sketchy. Alright. Shutting her down. Man. That is amazing. Okay, it's running. Now, since I've got the back end already jacked up, I'm just gonna start messing around back here and see if the axle's locked up or what. Somebody's definitely been messing around. Somebody's definitely been messing around with all the wheels, because all 4 of those castle nuts that hold like the wheel to the hub where the bearings are and everything, they're all loose and missing the cotter pins. And anyways, just gonna spray it with some blaster here. The good stuff. How many lug nuts does this one have? This one's got 3. Yeah. Driver side's left-hand thread. Okay. I just brought the jack out here and put that tire back on the ground and tried to spin it, and then the drive shaft was spinning, so I set the parking brake, which is attached to the back of the transmission, on the drive shaft somehow. So everything is kind of secured. This thing is still slipping, so maybe the rear end is bad, because I can see the drive shaft and it's not moving, and that other tire is on the ground, so obviously it's not moving. So I wonder if I should even waste my time with this thing. Probably not. Alright, so this is what came in the bed of the truck. It looks like it's got the same style suspension kind of setup, but it's a little bit different because this is the parking brake, e-brake deal, whereas this truck, the e-brake handle just goes down to the drive shaft. So that's not a huge deal. I can make this thing work as long as this is the same diameter as what's under the truck. I won't have to go buy anything. Okay, so the jack stands are under the frame rails, so we can get the axle, or we can get the weight off the axle. So I have to undo the drive shaft, so the suspension, brake hose, and these U-bolts right here on both sides. So I'm just going to give everything a spray here. Hopefully it all comes apart. Let's see if I can get it from here. Yeah. While that's soaking, I'm gonna go get the engine hoist and a chain, and we'll pick that axle up out of the bed of the truck. It's an open diff, but hopefully it works. I'm gonna take the e-brake off so I can spin this thing. Then we can just keep working in the shade. However, it's gonna make turning this thing a little bit, well, maybe not. It's kind of loose actually. Now that I got the other sides done. Yeah, we're good. And I don't have a 1/2 inch ratcheting, but I got a 13, and that seems to be close enough. It'd be nice if I could get a socket on here, but this thing was built in '49 when men were men and they spun nuts and bolts by hand, one painstaking quarter turn at a time. Might just cut that, save myself the time. It's already cracking, breaking. There. Disconnected. Just gonna undo these U-bolts on this side, and then it's just the U-bolts on the passenger side and that little suspension arm thing, and this thing's out of here. Good afternoon. I would like to be saying good morning, but I had other things to do today. But I was able to get that axle out pretty easy. These things are a lot lighter than new stuff, so that's good because I'm on my own out here. So I guess I don't need to talk too much. I just need to put that under the back of that and put some nuts and bolts in, and that'll be that. maybe before I go pushing on this truck too much, I should probably fix that. It's a good thing I have the jack under here. Oh. There we go. It's a little safer. I have to kind of set it in there at an angle because the leaf spring pads are on the bottom of the axle. So I can't pick up both sides at the same time. So I got to turn it so I can get that axle or that leaf spring pad to kind of sit at an angle on the leaf spring. That hangs down. There's one on each side. And ideally, you want two people to just pick this thing up even, slide it in, and then set it down with the pad on the leaf spring. And then this pin right here goes all the way through the stack and sticks out the other side to locate that pad. So that way the axle is locked in place on both sides. One over there, one right here. So now I can just drop my U-bolts over and then our little pad for the bottom has a hole in it as well to locate on the dowel sticking out. So I think it goes that way. So the U-bolts go through the outside holes and the dowel goes in the middle. So I'm gonna get that started by hand, and then we'll reattach our drive shaft. Try and aim the camera. Don't want to make anybody in the comments angry. I don't know how far my battery operated ratchet's gonna go because somebody forgot to put it on the charger last night. So I'm gonna throw some WD on these threads and give myself the best shot here. Don't want to tighten one side all the way. You want to kind of snug one side where it's touching, and then get the other side about the same, and then just kind of jump back and forth to tighten it evenly. Well, I seem to be missing the lock washer for the drive shaft. I'm sure that's not a big deal, right? Gonna tape off of there. And try to get this on here without losing any of our needles. Okay. Oh, that's not good. Well, shit. Did we lose any of them? Doesn't look like it. U-joint's probably about due to be replaced. I'm not too worried about it. Oh yeah, that's good. Just drop all that dirt down in there. Really make sure it's no longer any good. Yeah. All right, let's try that again. Maybe. Come on. Okay, got that one started. Now, I seem to be missing a lock washer, which I'm sure is totally not a big deal or anything. But just to be extra cautious, I'm going to pull this cardboard out of the way and see if I can't find it. Yeah, totally gonna be able to find that. I mean, that's dirt. That's the same color. Well, well, well. Look who's got a shiny new lock washer. Kind of feel bad for the other three, but can't just be replacing washers all willy-nilly. Not in this economy. Okay, everything's hooked up. The U-bolts are on there, complete with lock washers. Everything's just kind of snug right now. I need to get a wrench on all this stuff and really tighten it up. But two things. Number one is that brake line that's rusted in place and the top line is spinning. And right now, with as low as the truck is, I can't get a good grasp on the top to undo it. So that's going to have to wait. I just need to replace that with this. And, you know, now that I'm looking at this thing, those aren't threads. Huh. Okay. Well, there's probably some kind of pin up there that I need to unsnap and then pull that down and put that on. But we can do that after I tighten the axle up, and then I can pick it up from, I can use the jack and just pick it up under the differential and give myself some more height. Something else that's not hooked up are these shocks. I don't know that they're actually called shocks. It's a 1949, so they probably got some goofy name like a anti-bouncemizer. But this arm comes down. These things are still super tight, which is pretty awesome. But there's a pin that goes through this little wishbone piece right here and through the end of this arm. And there's supposed to be a rubber bushing in there to help isolate some of that movement. And obviously, that rubber bushing is from 1949, so it's gone. It's no longer with us. Also, this thing, I think I said this already, but this thing's got these emergency brake cables coming out of here, so I think the other, actually that's tack welded on there. I'll have a look at that other axle and see if maybe there's a plug that goes in there, because this truck has a parking brake that's on the drive shaft on the back of the, is it on the back of the transmission? Yeah, on the back of the transmission. So I'm gonna leave the anti-bouncemizer disconnected and just tighten up all the nuts and bolts that I've got started, and then pick it up even higher and finish the brake line, and then probably take the gas tank down and get that cleaned out, because if I can get that cleaned out, then we'll have a usable gas tank. There's the parking brake. Right there. Okay, gas tank's out. It's over there. Don't let me forget. Look at this little mounting hardware. It's got springs. What did they think was going to happen? You got to put suspension on the gas tank? I don't know. Let me see if you guys can. So the fill neck looks gross, and I don't know if you guys can see down in there. Oh, you can kind of see down in there. There's definitely some rust and some flakes and some chunky stuff floating around the bottom. I took the screws out of the sending unit, and yeah, I'm gonna try and pop that cover off, see if I can get a more direct view of what's going on down inside there. Well, that's gross looking. Whoa. That's cool. That is a cork fuel float. That's awesome. I don't know if this thing still works, but I think we can test it. If we put a test lead here and one to the body, and we move this thing, we should be able to see the resistance change. Okay, let's see if this thing works. So if I put this on resistance, I've got my test leads in here on the top. So that's all the way down, so that'd be an empty tank. And then as I move this thing up, that should change. It's kind of working. Well, what did we learn? Nothing. Except for it's got cork for the float. There's really no way to get in here, clean it up. It's all sealed. I don't know. These little kits are pretty cool. Come with all kinds of different test leads for your multimeter. You got the regular straights, and then these guys are super thin and sharp for like back probing, electrical connectors, and you got little spades and different style pins and these little clip-on ones and all kinds of stuff. Pretty cool. Highly recommend get one. Let's see.
wonder if I put the flashlight in this one. No, can't see anything. Well, you can kind of see some crusties down in there.
So, I don't know how I'm going to clean that out. But I mean, that's the fuel line right there. And, oh, can you see? No, you can't. That's the fuel line right there. And there's nothing plugging that off. So it's so plugged up inside here that nothing's coming out. Let's try standing the tank up on end and spraying something into the fuel line. See anything coming out that side? Size wrench you think that is? Probably 1/2 inch. Yeah. There we go. Is it just this line that's plugged? Well, not anymore. Whoa. That's plugged. How do you get into there? Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Where does it go? It goes... What? It goes down? Huh. We might be shit out of luck on this one. I don't know why I keep thinking this, but when I look at anything on this truck, I think it's 80 years old. Stuff's gonna be built simple. Not always. This right here, I thought was interesting because I thought that should probably be down here to let the fuel come out, because now you're losing that much of your tank, right? No. Inside here, there's a fuel line that goes all the way down in the 90s and goes almost to touch the bottom, and that's where it sucks the fuel up and comes up. So, pretty smart. But that line inside the tank is plugged. Now, if you notice this little hex right here, at some point in its life, this thing probably was designed to come off. Okay. So I guess now if I spray some of this down there and it doesn't come back up, that means we're good, right? Came back up instantly. Filling that tube up. See all that? Man. I need something that's a little bit more flexible than that. Boom, baby. Steel braided cable. I don't know why I have this or where it came from, but it's perfect. Oh. Well, maybe it's perfect. It's still getting hung up. Come on. Yeah, that 90 is down there. Can you see that? That 90 is down here in the middle of the tank. And I mean, I guess I can try taking this piece off right here, but probably gonna leak again. Probably got glued up for a reason, you know? Asking for trouble right now. If they JB welded it, I can JB weld it. I wonder if maybe that's not supposed to come out. On account of it doesn't want to come out. I'll mess up those threads on the inside. There we go. I wonder if that was in there with lead. I think that is. And there's the pickup. Way down in there. There's all of our brake clean. Oh yeah, it's plugged up solid. Let me just shove it in there farther. Did I get it? Let's see if we can get the cable all the way through. It's right there. I'm afraid to bend this though. Oh, oh, boom. Got it. Look at that. I just saved myself like $500. Well, that's the cost of a new tank. I still don't know how I'm going to put this thing back in there. Hopefully there's not more than 3 gallons in here. Whoa! Whoa! Hydrate. Change your socks. Here's some Motrin. Took the passenger front wheel off, and just like I thought, those 2 lugs were stripped because they were on the wrong side. So somebody tried to loosen them by turning them left, but they are reverse thread because of the driver's side, blah, 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 blah. You guys already know. But I got that little cut piece that I thought was broken on the driver's side. It's supposed to come off. I don't know what this is, what it's called, what it's for, but I'm looking at them side by side here, and that's not that bad. I can hammer that back into shape, put some heat in it, hammer it flat, make it match this one. So not that bad. What is bad is I'm having a hard time finding brake parts for this thing. I guess there's a company called Turner Brakes that makes a disc brake conversion. I can't even find their website. So if you guys know anything about these old 49 Studebakers, either replacing the drums and getting new shoes or converting it, it's got the straight axle under it. So it's a 1949 2R6. Yeah, if you guys know anything about disc brake conversions, even parts that I could make work, like I'm looking at some kits for like a 49 Chevy, 49 Ford, that kind of stuff's pretty readily available. The only concern I have is, will it fit on the spindle, or do I have to replace the spindle? And if I do, is the kingpin going to match up? So a lot of variables with that. I've got the gas tank out. I got the wheels off. I think I'm actually going to bring another set of jack stands out here, and let's just see if the transmission goes into gear. I've got these lug nuts right here. I guess I can put a couple more on the back wheels. Definitely need to get a new set of these because these old ones are crusty. That's got some damage on the thread there. I'll just hammer that on with the old impact. Alright, so that side's got 4 out of 5. This side has 2. I got 2 left. Okay. Four out of 5. Sounds good. Okay. Get our battery hooked back up. Fuel tank. I don't know. Running. Oh! That's first gear. Clutch in. The freaking clutch works. Second gear. That should be third. Yeah. Fourth. Oh, still moving. Reverse. I got reverse. Back into neutral. Let's watch that speedo. Let's go for second gear. Oh, that speedo's working. Third. Fourth. Oh yeah. Too bad I don't have brakes. What happens when we pull the parking brake? Let's stop our wheels. Doesn't look like it. Alright, I got the parking brake off. First gear. Clutch out. Oh, easy. And I'm going to pull the parking brake. Parking brake doesn't seem to do anything. Cool. Let's check on our oil line here. That line's warm. There's definitely oil circulating through there. There's no leaks. No freaking leaks. Fuel bowl, not leaking somehow. That gasket was crusty and it's holding up. That's awesome. So, engine runs, idles on its own just fine. The tank is out here. I got that pickup out. It's unplugged, unclogged. I talked to some guys and they said that this tank, it might be lead, but they said it's probably solder. So I can do solder, that's no problem. I just gotta go buy some. So I can solder that pickup tube back in there. That saves me $500. Those tanks, not cheap. So yeah, the only thing we got left to do on this truck is the brakes. And then I can just put it around the block, call it a win. I mean, I think we're winning right now. One thing I am gonna do, I was going back and forth. The battery is 12 volt that I'm using. Everything else is set up in here for 6 volt. From what I know, your coil, your condenser, I mean, as far as the ignition system goes, that's kind of what you need to be 12 volt or 6 volt, you know, matching. Because this thing's running so well off this 12 volt battery, I think that condenser that's in there is a 12 volt condenser. So instead of buying a 6 volt battery that I'm only going to use for this truck and not anything else anywhere else ever again, I think I'm just going to buy a 12 volt ignition coil. I think that's easy enough. The starter can handle 12 volts just fine as long as I'm not cranking on it forever. And then I think I can buy brushes for that, but that's a 6 volt generator. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some reading on that. If you guys know, leave me a comment, let me know. I think I could probably adapt a 12 volt alternator, just like a regular GM one wire alternator. I could probably make that work, but can I make that work? Like, do alternators care if you're positive ground or negative ground? Because this truck is all wired positive ground. So this is the positive lug on the battery, and it goes right there to the engine block. Everything on the positive side of every electrical component on this truck, the positive side goes to the chassis. It's starting to rain, so I need to cover up this carburetor. This thing here, it's kind of cool, but also kind of not. Hard to find parts, just like everything else on this truck. That's why I'm torn right now. It's so difficult to find parts for these things. I'd love to keep it all original, but it's going to be really, really expensive to do that. So, I mean, it's already got a Chrysler generator on it. So, you know, what's a few more things? What's a brand new engine, you know? Yeah, so we're going to end this video off on a high note because I got the rear end swapped out and it works fine. Transmission works, clutch works. I was really dreading that. I found the rusty throw out bearing in the bag in the bed of the truck, and I was just immediately thought, oh man, that needed to be replaced. and that bearing got left in the bed of the truck, and now it's no good. But it looks like we're okay. I know it's going to be a different story once the truck's on the ground and there's load. You know, there's a little bit of resistance against that transmission and rear end and everything. But I think we're fine. I think we're okay. So, if you guys got any tips, tricks, you know where to get parts, let me know. My email's down there. You can leave me a comment. You can find me on Instagram. Yeah, let me know. Also, I got a comment the other day from a dude out in Brazil. So shout out to that guy. I am absolutely blown away that somebody not only is watching my channel in Brazil, but also you took the time to go down there and say hey. So I appreciate that. If you reach out, I replied to your comment, but if you reach out to me, send me an email, travis@stufab.com. I'll put it on the screen. I'll leave it in the description. If that guy reaches out to me, I'll send you a t-shirt. So that's it. That's all. Let me know what you're working on. Let me know where you're at. Later.